acquisition of fighters, and nothing better than manufacturing them in our own country. And if what you say, F-21 or 22 is being talked about and being manufactured in India, I think then we have a control at the rate at which we can induct. Maybe a little late, but definitely that is the way to go.
Yeah, the rate which we can conduct can't be 1 or 2 or 3 a month. It has to be a lot more than that, looking at the next 4 or 5 years. Pathikrit, now let's look at it in practical terms. What does Donald Trump need? Transactional, right? He needs to go back to his voting public and say, look, I am working on this billion-dollar deal with America for Lockheed that is going to generate these many jobs in my country. And once you give him that, then perhaps you open to a conversation even on POK, on Afghanistan. Things start changing, but you have to make that call. Something is making us hesitate. Why?
Rishabh, first of all, I have nothing against the Americans. I have been a very strong supporter of C-130 deal, C-17 deal, PA-type Poseidon or Chinook helicopter or Apache or M777. But let us understand, if we have a certain amount of money with us, and when it comes to taking certain American hardware, whether it is an F-21 and F-22, we have to keep in mind that whether it is going to serve our purpose or not. If you have to take an F-21, I think, let's be clear, F-21 is nothing but a refurbished F-16. This is not a new plane at all. It's just
you want the F-22.
It is just an F-21.
You want the Raptor. You don't want
the F-21. So
far
as the Raptor is concerned, I think the final call will be of the Indian Air Force, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Will it be at the cost of a Rafale, or will it be at the cost of a follow-on order for Rafale? Will it be at the cost of completely doing away with the Sukhoi production assembly facilities and architecture that we have created? I think these are critical decisions that has to be taken.
I agree with you. Those are very practical decisions. So, I'm also asking the larger one. Arjun, help us understand this. You look at it on clear transactional terms, that you got 6 months and Donald Trump wants to be able to say that, look, I'm at least in talks with the Indians for this multi-billion-dollar deal, and that could help set up and create jobs or preserve jobs in America for Lockheed. The defense arms lobby is a huge deal in America. Let's not kid ourselves. We know how that works. This is not just about the plane. This is about strategic relationships. In a global present context, should we shy away from a strategic relationship with America?
Depends completely on what we're getting at the end of it. We have to be ruthless as well about it. It's not a one-way street. We have to be very clear what we're getting out of it. About 40 years ago, 45 years ago, when the Americans embraced the Chinese, it wasn't because of any love for the Chinese. It was because, as Nixon was quoted as saying, they have 1 billion people and they have nuclear weapons. And they were used against the Russians, against the Soviet Union. So it's a question of whether we want to get into the same position, take over that same kind of a position, be used against the Chinese in the same context, in the same way. And depends what we are getting out of it. We have to be very ruthless about it, very clear about it. No ideologies, no friendships.
Okay, it has to be straight transactional. To come back, Pathikrit, coming around Europe.
The simple thing is that, see, the Americans. I have respect for the Americans, but after the Balakot strike, I mean, I think what is something which is the Indian Air Force will be looking at is that when they were asking about the F-16s and the end user monitoring agreement as to why it was not being questioned by the Americans. I think certain question marks will be there as to when it talk about taking offensive weapon systems from America, as to whether the Americans will allow you to use it,
so we have
in
to be
case
clear about
against
that.
Pakistan also or not.
So you're raising the caveats and they all have to be sorted out, but the logic of course is that if you had